Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Joshua and this is Rooftop. Now, in today's workshop, we're going to be looking at how to draw the human nose. Now, previously I had done a workshop on a charcoal portrait, but that was a bit, more of a gist of portraiture. But now when we dive into portraits, or when you go to see, how to draw certain aspects of it, we get to realize that we need to draw each feature of the face individually. So in this workshop, I'm going to try to break it down as simple as I can as to how we can draw the human nose. Now, a lot of people tend to, struggle drawing the nose, and I myself was, one of them. So I will show you the simplest way, you could say. I wouldn't say easiest, but the simplest way of understanding how to draw the nose. So let's see how it goes. Okay, so I have this here. All right, so my paper here, I have two of them. Okay, so what I will do is I will just start by explaining how to simplify the nose. Okay, so now if you look at the nose, right, I'll just very roughly draw a nose over here. Okay, so if you see the nose, I'll draw it relatively big, but this will be a very rough drawing. So if you look at the nose, it is let's say I'll zoom in a bit so you can see. Yeah, so I'll just draw this part here. And then this is where our eyes would come, and in this part so now I'm just going to draw it very roughly. I'm not trying to do anything too detailed as such. So if you look at the nose, it would come somewhat like this. Then here we would have the eyes, and this is the nose. And then if you want, you can start shading it over here like this, like that, and then maybe a little bit onto this side over here. Let's darken this part, and then the eyes would fall in this, let's call it a pocket for now, or socket, like that over there. And then you would have the eyes come over here like this. But now we have to understand, how do we draw the nose, or how do we construct it? Because sometimes what we do is, when we start to draw portraits, right, or when we try to draw people, let's draw this here, we tend to draw the nose like this, and then we have our mouth, our lips, and then our chin. Or maybe you'll draw the nose like this, or maybe sometimes you can even draw the nose like that. But now all of these types of nose that we draw, all of them derive from a certain type of construction of it. Now, what do I mean by a certain type of construction? So what I mean by that is, now there is something known as planes. Now planes are basically flat surfaces. So if we take a cube, let's say we have a cube here. I'll just very roughly draw this. Now we have a cube. Now say if I want to flatten these edges that are there, it would be something like this then. Something like that. Take it there, bring this part down, and then from here also take it like that. This side as well. So something like that. So now you see the edges have rounded up a bit, and then if I go to try and divide this even more or flatten this even more, you'd get even more planes like that. If we divide it again by half, it would start becoming a lot more rounded, and when you keep adding more and more and more, you then eventually come down to a sphere. So in today's workshop, what I'm going to show you is how we can get these sort of planes of the nose. So what I'm going to be teaching you is the planes of the nose. Alright, now let's see, I'll start with some very simple demonstrations first. Okay, so now if you look at the nose, we can divide it into 4 sections. We have the top of the nose, we have the 2 sides, making it 3, and then the bottom part of the nose. Okay, so let me show you what I mean by that. So if we take this part here, like that, a bit like this, so this will be the top of the nose, and then when we come down to the side, you would have the left side of the nose. When you bring this down to the other side, we will have the right side of the nose, and then when we draw the bottom part like this, we'll have the nostril area basically. But now how do we develop it even further? Let's see. So again, I'll start with this. I'll start by drawing this very lightly here, and then this part I'll bring it down. This side also I'll bring it down a bit. Like that. This side I will connect it. Again, now I'm doing this part very lightly so that I can show you once we take this, how can we develop it even further. Like that. Now when I want to develop it even further, in this area here, I will start by curving this. In this part I will bring it down. So these are more like guidelines, you could say. This part I will bring it down, and then this area here also I'll bring this part down as well. Then I'll do the right nostril first, or my right side. Take this part down, take this up, like that. And then the same thing with this side also. I'll bring this part down, take it up like that. And then for this middle line, I'll give it a small bump and give it another bump like that over there. Same thing with this side. I'll just make it slightly parallel. I won't draw it entirely. And then inside this shape, we can draw the nostril like that. And then if I want to develop it even further, again I'll start with this. If you have any questions, you can let me know if anything is, confusing you, or you find it a little bit tricky or complicated to understand. Okay, so I'll draw this part again. Let me show you. I'll start from this, develop it into this, and then take it to the next stage. So again, I'll start with the nose. So this top part, or this top line, will be the bridge of your nose between your eyes. And then I will take this part down, take this part also down, connect this, bring this part down a bit like that. So this I can take it inside just a little bit. This part I'll bring it down, connect it. Just erase any extra lines that are there. Connect this down. So now I have this basic shape. Then I can start by drawing this line here, this part down like that. I'll take this part, and now it doesn't have to be exactly on this line. This line is just a point of reference, or more like a guideline, you could say. Now over here I'll add the eye socket, and then the same thing with this side here, like that. And then over here I will add the nostril. Inside will be relatively subtle because it's at the back side, so you can't really see much of it. Just like this. Then we'll have the nostril come around like that. Now I can start lightening this up, but I will just very gently erase only the guidelines that are there. It is still relatively visible. See if you can see it. It's very light, but it's still very visible. So I will just correct this portion, bring it down there. Same thing here. This will be relatively parallel, but not exactly. Here I'll have this nostril come, do the nose on the right side. Now, some people or some of you might think that this is, not very important because you need to know how to draw the entire face. You need to, get those proportions right. But when you do draw this, or when you do draw a face, each and every part needs to match the face. So if you're drawing a face, but your nose is tilting this side, your eyes are a little up and down, then even if your drawing is good, those slight misalignments or disproportions could, tamper with your work, and we don't want that to happen. So the same thing here, and then this side I can start by adding the eyes over here. Oh, sorry, there you go, that's much better. Okay. Like that. And then if I shade this, so this is going to be a very basic shading, you could say. Like that. And then a little bit over here also. Now what this will help you with is understanding how to place the light and shadows, because we tend to get very confused with how to do the lighting, or where do we place the light, where do the shadows come. So it can get very complicated at times, and it can be a bit demotivating as well. But trust me, learning this actually helps you quite a lot. So you can see how the nose is starting to sort of come to life. Now if I take this very same nose and I try to shade it a bit more. Now since this side is the inner part of our eye socket, it will be a little bit darker, and then the same thing this side as well. First just make sure that these outlines are, you can see I'm starting to add a bit of depth to it. And then the same thing this side also over here. So now we're going to try shading the nose properly. I'll shade this entire part as well, very lightly. Like that. And in this area here, I will bring it in ever so slightly. Now I can start darkening this part also. Take this part down, add a little bit of shadow there. Same thing on this side. Like that at the bottom. So now once I'm done showing you this, I will even give an example of one of my own personal paintings and as to how I did that. So if I try to draw this again over here, so I'll draw a simpler nose. Take this down. So if you see when I sketch also, I do it very lightly, like that. So now I'm placing down the planes of the nose. So this is the top part, this is the side part over here, this is the bottom part also. just like this. And then here I can add a bit of the shadows. So now if you look at this, it doesn't really make sense, but then once we start adding the shadows to it, see, like this area here, this will be the inner part of the eyes. So basically this area here. So we're shading in that part first. Like that. Then we can slowly start darkening it as well. So we can shade this entirely like that, and we can start darkening these areas. Over here we can have a bit of the eyebrows. Same thing here. You see, I am starting to, shade it in this manner. Like that. Same thing here. Just add a little bit of shadow there. And then we can add the darker tones. So if you look at my sketching workshop, I teach you about the different tones, the light, middle, dark, and then how we can divide that even more, and then get even the most minute shades as well. So you can see the nose starting to take shape. So that way we can try to draw the nose in different angles also. So if I try to draw the nose upwards, it would be something like this. So that's the basic shape that I have. And over here, you would have the nostrils. And then this would be the side of the nostrils. Then all of this goes upwards. And then if I try to draw the nose downwards, like looking down, then it would just be like this, in this manner. So if I draw the eyes also for reference, this would be a little bit higher over there. And then here will be the shadow or the eye sockets over there. And let's see if I'm drawing a man. So you can see how this is the nose from the top angle. Now what I can do is I can show you a painting of my own where you can see how the nose is, kept. Okay, so I'll just keep how much is needed. Okay, so if you look at this image, right, you can see how even though it may look quite realistic from afar, when we zoom into it, it is quite simple. There are very few lines, very few strokes. Same thing here if you see. It's very simplified. If you look at the eyes, there are just 2 lines on the right eye and then a small circle or a small dot for the eyes. And then for the nose also, I just added a few strokes for like the shadow. If you look at the nostril area, I just added a few strokes at the bottom, and then you start getting the shape of the nose. So when you learn to simplify, your painting or your drawing or whatever you are, trying to study, it becomes a lot easier to, understand and. 1 second. It becomes a lot easier to understand and break it down and simplify. I think what I can do is I can also I can keep one session where I paint a portrait, and in that I can show you how we can break it down, simplify it, and see, better or easier ways to get the drawing done or get the painting done. So that's all for today's workshop. Keep it short and sweet. Didn't want to drag it too long. And thank you so much for joining me in this workshop. If you've learned something, leave a like or drop a comment, and I will see you all again tomorrow. So until then, take care and bye-bye.